Look who's back.
New hair color, new me.
Yep. All right, so this is our collab. Yes, this is another Live in Cal collab. This is the first video that I'm filming for y'all since Covergate. Is that what we're gonna call it? Covergate.
Covergate's crazy.
Yeah. So we thought it would be really funny if we I mean, you listened to me crash out on the phone about Covergate.
I called them and I was like, hey, how are you doing? And then they had a full mental breakdown, which is fine.
Yeah.
They had a full mental breakdown. It was one of those things where like, I wonder if I had called you, maybe you probably still would have had it.
Oh, no, I would have. It's good that I had it then because both you and Becca were there.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. Well, so I had the idea, and they thought it'd be funny if we, like, told y'all story ideas we had in our youth, that are terrible, but still better than anything an AI could come up with.
Yeah, true human brain power.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start off with what I think is the magnum opus of terrible ideas that I have.
Okay.
So, you know how I have like kind of like a 9/11 special interest kind of thing? Okay. So, to anyone who doesn't know that I have autism, I promise that
there's a reason for that.
Yeah. But basically, so I'm writing a story about this girl, and she's in 7th grade, and her best friend is her Muslim neighbor, and they've grown up together. They've lived in the same cul-de-sac, and the neighbor is going to have to move to New York because the father got a job in the Twin Towers, and she doesn't want her to move. So she has this jar that she makes a wish in every single night, like writes it on paper, puts it in the jar, and she's wished for things like, let's go to the TRL tour, let's go, like I hope that this guy looks at me in class, and she writes, I wish that, I forget what I named the Muslim neighbor, but I wish that Jana didn't have to move to New York. Puts it in the jar, and that was September 10th, 2001, that she did that.
Oh my god!
I told you it was bad.
Flabbergasted. Flabbergasted. That's crazy. I don't think I have any quite like that. I had one, I'm trying to think, I had one where like my main character was a slave who then worked his way out of being a slave and like was super powerful and like killed all of his, a lot of my ideas as a kid, I like was really violent as a child in my writing. I hope that's not anything I need to look into. Anyway, where he was a slave and then he, like, not killed his way out, but he worked his way out, but then they wouldn't let him leave even though he worked his way out, and so he killed them all, and then that was like
I feel like that's rational.
Yeah, but it is rational.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's the worst one I think I have. Nothing quite like that one.
Okay. Well, I know we started off strong, but how about the one where it was these teenagers at like a magical boarding school, but like nobody knew that they had powers yet in the first book, and this girl, she meets the new guy who was sent to this magical boarding school because he's in some legal trouble at home in the real world with his ex-girlfriend, who like basically she like faked revenge porn against herself to like because he couldn't get excited for her. And that's so you're already like making the face, but let me tell you,
sorry.
it's okay. It's okay.
I'll go flat again.
Yeah. So it's revealed later in the story, because the main character meets this guy and they fall in love. It's revealed that part of his like not powers, but like part of his like magic system is that he can only get excited for his one true love, which happens to be her.
To be a soulmate. I mean, that's a good way to find your soulmate.
And for all the university story readers out there, Marion and Shane were like, they're like 6 degrees of separation from them, but they're derivative of those characters.
Really? Lordra! I will not remember that when I read.
Yeah, especially because their companion novel is like not even coming out for another year, so.
I will. I'll try. I won't remember that when I read Lost and Found, but
okay,
I'll try.
Yeah,
I won't. Another story I had, so a lot of my stories growing up as, I'm one of 10, Cal Lordrop. And so every morning, Saturday morning, we had this huge garden that my dad would be like, and then I have 10 children, so free child labor, that I would work in the yard day and night. Not quite exactly that, mostly in the mornings on Saturdays. people had Saturday morning cartoons, I had Saturday morning chores, you know. And I would have a lot of these ideas when I was working. There was one, it was called Shadow and Light, and basically how it happened is if like every shadow was a kingdom and every light was a kingdom.
I feel like that exists for some reason.
I'm sure it does. Like, I'm sure this idea doesn't not exist anywhere. But like, in my mind is like, and then, you know, the princess lives in this world. And I thought of this really like, I think I was like 10 when I thought of this. And I was like, and this is so intricate. And then I didn't write any of it down, so I don't remember like a good chunk of it. But I was like, and then the story came up because I was so bored doing yard work that I had to keep myself entertained. Another story that I wrote in 7th grade that was highly influenced by whatever anime I was watching at the time, because every time I would read it, like I have the first draft that I go back and like, oh, that's I was watching Kyokaramo. Oh, when I watched that. Oh, I was watching Fullmetal Alchemist when I was reading this one. Oh, I was watching Fruits Basket. Like, I was able to see which anime I had been watching before I wrote a scene. But basically this is the story that made me find out fan fiction existed, because I wanted to do like a Chronicles of Narnia going from one world to a different world, like through, not a wardrobe, but like, you know, through like a forest or something. Or, you know, she appeared there, and then my friend, I was like, I can't do that because Chronicles of Narnia already exists. And my friend was like, you know, fan fiction exists. And I was like, fan fiction? What's that? And then, you know, I found it when I was like 12, so how old am I now?
How old are you? 28?
28, yeah. Woo! And so it's like, I don't know that math. 10
like
years.
the domino effect or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
where it's like,
you know fan fiction exists, right? Danny Phantom Princess Diaries.
Literally, that's kind of my weirdest crossover. Anyway, but I was like, oh, crazy. And I was like, well, just because it exists, I can write a story around this. And so basically, she was like, again, she was the chosen one. There's a prophecy about her. Her friend that was in like her like high school with her that she had a crush on was the prince of this other world that he was like trying to find the prophets. They were like, oh, we don't know who the prophesied person of this world is, so like we have to go find. It's giving like isekai animes where they summon her to they summon the OGP, they summoned the civilians to the fantasy world, but like the opposite, where the fantasy world went to the modern world and then scooped them up. Anyway, and I wrote a good chunk of that, and then I went back and reread it, and I was like, wow, this is definitely written by a preteen. That's crazy.
When I first started realizing that I was not straight, I tried to write a story.
You're not straight? That's crazy.
I tried to write like a story to cope with it about like a religious girl, much like myself, finding out she has feelings for somebody close to her. Yeah, literally, it was so self-insert. It was like self-insert, but also fan-fiction-y. Like it was bad. But because I was so still deeply religious, I was like, I have to come up with a way that they can't end up together, and it's not homophobic. So
that's what you were into.
So
crazy.
Throughout this whole story, the girl, she, this is when I thought I was, like, when I first realized I wasn't straight, I thought I was bi.
Same.
Yep. So the girl, she has like a boy that she really, really likes, and then she has the girl that she's in love with, and then, so the boy's like kind of trying to help her, because he's like, you know, like, I believe we're gonna get married someday, so I'm gonna help you get through this. And then he's like, I prayed for you, and I've come up with the answer that I should tell you to do family history work for some reason. And she's like, that's a little weird, I'm not gonna do that. But then she keeps getting kind of like that same thing when she prays about it. She's like, do family history work, do family history work. The whole series, or not series, like the whole book goes on. She ends up kissing the girl, and then like a song, like a church song comes on the radio, and she's like, oh, actually, like, I can't do this because I believe in God. And then the girl that she kissed like blows up at her and was like, you are a homophobe, you suck, like, I can't believe this. And then the next day, or no, like a week goes by, she's like manic for a whole week, much like I was when I had my canon event friendship breakup due to romantic feelings. And so she's like manic for a week, and then the guy comes over and he was like, I figured out why we kept getting prompted to do family history, and it is because your mother has a long lost sister who, like, she fell out of contact with.
They're siblings.
They're cousins.
Like cousins. Yeah.
And it's revealed that they're like long lost distant cousins. And that's why they can't be together, is because they're literally cousins.
I mean, that doesn't stop all religious people, but I'm glad it stopped them.
Yeah. And then the other way that I like wrote that was much less insane, but I wrote like the plot where like I basically like a year later I tried to write that love story in a different like take on that storyline. And but I still was too afraid to have them end up together, because like that was when like my religious leader at church was kind of like on me for coming out and like being openly out, and he's like, maybe you shouldn't. And so I was like very scared of like what was gonna happen to me in church if I like wrote a story where the two lesbians, or well, where two women actually did get to be together. And so, and also I was like still dealing with the internalized homophobia on my end, where like I was like, basically I thought I was like demisexual, because I'm like, well, I just don't like imagining having sex with a woman. I just can't picture that. It's just not, it doesn't work. And then you know I got like a little bit older, and I was like, oh, that was the autism. Anyway, so how I wrote around that was I made it so that the main character was asexual, and her girlfriend was not asexual, and they tried to work around it, but it was not working. And then there was like, there was more lore to why I ended up breaking up, but it was basically because I didn't want to write a lesbian sex scene. I had to make them break up, or I had to make the one character be asexual. And then she ends up with a guy, of course, in the end, because she's bi-asexual. And he, it's basically, it's so cheesy. She's like telling him like the reason that they broke up is like because she's asexual. She's like, so you don't want to date me because I'm asexual, because like that, you know, I'm never gonna be able to give you sex. And then he's like, what's asexual? And she explains it to him. He's like, there's a word for that? I must be that too. And then I don't have to write any sex scenes, which it was a YA novel, so I don't know why I thought I was gonna have to write one in the first place. I was 19 writing it though.
Me who just Face to Black for all of my fan fictions. Me who was like, and then I'm gonna tease you guys, and then actually I'm not gonna do anything. Bye.
That's how YA should go. Like fade to black. Like I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to see it. When you're, I tried to rewatch One Tree Hill a while ago, and there's like this very intense makeout scene between Lucas and Peyton. You don't know anything that I'm talking about.
Nope.
There's this very intense makeout scene between Lucas and Peyton in season 1 where she like her shirt is up, like you can't see her boobs, but like her shirt is up, and he's like kissing her stomach, and it's like so. I'm like, I get that the actors are adults, but they're supposed to be portraying 16-year-olds, and I'm like, I don't want to picture 16-year-olds doing that.
Yeah. I don't know, I can just think of like every weird Danny Phantom fanfiction I've thought of that's better than AI. One of my most recent ones that I wrote was have you seen The Court Jester?
No.
It's a Danny Kaye like 1960s movie. Very on brand for me. That I wrote, I watched it for the first time, I was like, I can write dating into this, and then I did. And it's like 1,000 something words, free on AO3 if you want to read it. It's not great, but you know, whatever.
Still better than AI.
Still better. Like, hey, me writing, could AI write Danny Phantom in a weird Danny Kaye movie? No. No, he could. No, they couldn't.
I don't know, man. It's getting pretty advanced. We got bamboozled. My whole group chat got bamboozled by that cover.
I'm so mad about that.
Same. No, because literally, like, here's some, like, I have one more thing on my list, but, like, side rant is because when I first got the image, I was like, something's off. Let me send this to my group chat of, like, 20 people who also hate AI and see if any of them say anything. And I sent it to your group chat. I sent it to my group chat with my friends from work. I sent it to, like, several individual people. Not one person raised any red flags. So I'm like, okay, I'm safe. I don't have to awkwardly ask her if she used it. And
see, I didn't clock anything, and also part of me is like, should I have clocked something? Because you sent it in December, didn't you?
Yeah, like it was the day after Christmas that she sent it to me.
Yeah.
And then like the fact that like because she just made the first image, she made like the wrap. She took months to finish the wrap for me, so I'm like, okay, obviously she's not using AI, because if she were using AI, she could have that done in like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Which, like one of my friends that I showed it to, who I didn't show it to at first, I don't know why, but she was just like, no, the wrap she made, the front cover she did not. And I was like, I don't know, man. Anyway, the last thing on my list was that the way that I would explain away parents, because I didn't want to write parents.
Did you come off, or they were orphans
no,
already?
So basically, my personal favorite, I don't remember all of them, but my personal favorite was the girl, her parents were moving to England, and they felt really bad because it was right before her senior year, so they wanted her to finish out her senior year in San Jose, California, where housing prices are known to be affordable for teenagers, of course.
Of course. And
so, and then her boyfriend lived with like a deadbeat mom and no dad. And so he was like, we could find a place together. And the parents, because they felt so bad that they were moving across the country before her senior year, were like, we will buy this 3-bedroom suburban home for you and your boyfriend to live in together. Surprise, surprise, she got pregnant.
Oh, crazy.
Like that was part of the lore, but like basically, because when I originally made it, it was originally a Sims series, and I just straight up did not acknowledge.
The Sims
It's the one I showed you.
Oh my god, really?
It's the one I showed you.
I know that lore. Wait, I know that one.
But like, I just originally didn't explain the existence of parents at all. There were just no parents, and it was just normal that they were just living in this suburban house in Pleasant View, which was. But I was just like, I was like, I need an explanation because it's not realistic for them to just live here. So her parents bought them a house and moved to England, and then she gets pregnant because she's living with her boyfriend. Why would she not?
My parents, I just forgot parents existed, to be so for real. Or they were like a good chunk, or I had the like kind of, that's the wrong word I want, giving like Powerpuff Girls a bit, not Powerpuff Girls, Peanuts. Whereas like they're there, but like kind of. Whereas like they're there, but like they're not the main focus. So like don't worry, like they have parents, but like it's just the children doing stuff, like whatever. Except I had all of my, when I was writing it as a teenager, it was like, I think they're all teens because I was a teen. They're all adults now, except maybe that's a lie. That I did just straight up lie because some of my Danny Phantom and My Hero Academia fics aren't that, but that's fine.
You're putting your shoes on my coffee table?
No.
Bro, you see my apartment, don't you? Like,
I'm not gonna say what I thought.
Basically, I'm just saying that I don't care if you put your feet on my coffee table.
My dad cares a lot, so I did that, and he was like, I saw visions of David Savage being like, get your feet on the table.
Y'all can't see because the tripod is like in the middle of it, but I decided to organize all my cross-stitch thread on Wednesday, and promptly realized like, I think that's like 6 spools in that. 1, I did not have a thin enough marker to write the color names on the bobbins. 2, I did not have nearly enough bobbins. And 3, I have a lot of thread.
It's funny, I walked in and it's like circle, like, so she was sitting in the middle and then it's like spread out like a C. But I walked in and I was like, what is rituals happening here?
Oh, you know, before I make people cross stitches, I like to sit in the middle of my thread and just like possess the threads that I'm going to use.
Good.
Yeah.
Just like a ghost.
Yeah.
Just like Danny Phantom.
Yeah. So your Danny Phantom cross stitch, I actually possessed with energy to make you fall in love with me.
Wait a minute. Oh,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
We lean in.
If I was gonna do that to anyone's cross, I'm kidding.
It wouldn't be mean.
Yeah. No, if I knew how to do that in 2020, man, we wouldn't even be sitting on this couch right now.
True.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd be living with somebody else. Anyway, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just calling.
Yeah. Anyway, well now I'm off the cross stitches for now. Now I'm making friendship bracelets. If you are in the extracurricular activity that I am an advisor for, do not watch the next part of this video. Now I've been making friendship bracelets. I haven't started this one for all the seniors because I want to do something nice for them. But I only know how to make them on a safety pin attached to a water bottle. So I've literally kept this water bottle from Delta Gamma for all these years so that I can sit here and make friendship bracelets on it.
Iconic. Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, these are the ones I have finished so far.
Cool.
Yeah.
Why did I? Never mind, I'm gonna give this back to you because I literally picked them up and I was like, I didn't put these in my mouth. I didn't do that.
So if you're watching this and you're one of my seniors,
I'm not gonna put them in my mouth. They just look very colorful, and I was like, just
forbidden gummy worms.
No, kind of.
I'm not taking it of Vincenzo's later.
I've eaten fabric before.
You have. What haven't you eaten at this point? Like if God was gonna take you out, he would have done it by now.
No, I was talking about how I used to, another Cal lore, hi guys, of where, so when I was a child, I had to take a bunch of medications because I had problems as a child, problems as an adult. And my mom was like, we gotta have you start taking like pills that you swallow versus ones that you just chew. So take some M&Ms. And I was like, but M&Ms are bad for me because I can chew the M&Ms and then I can also, they taste good versus if I chew a swallowing pill then it won't taste good. So my big brain, and by big brain I mean my already brain damaged brain from my heart surgery, not from these strokes that I've had recently, I had this brilliant idea of like, wait a minute, if I just take these pebbles that are in our garden that are itty bitty for like our rose stuff, then I can practice taking those and I don't chew them and they are kind of gross in my mouth. So that's how I started eating rocks as a child. But it was out of pure, I thought I was being so smart about it, so Don't eat rocks, children.
I will be right back. I'm gonna get something to sign off the video with.
I'm scared. Why? She's like, I'm gonna go sign off a video. I'm like, we can't just do it ourselves.
Well, no, because we need. I need to do my promotional stuff at the end, where I tell people what they gotta do. So
like and subscribe.
I took the cover jacket off of it. This is the part I made. But this is my book. It's coming out May 9th. As soon as the metadata from Michelle's art loads into Ingram Spark, I will repost the pre-order links. Don't pre-order anything yet, except Kindle. You can pre-order Kindle, because that switched over. But this is the one I made. This is the case laminate. I made this part all by myself. Just me in Photoshop. I have the layers, I can prove it.
And it doesn't have any trigger warnings, right?
Right, no trigger warnings.
So you can finish this one. I didn't finish your last book because it triggered
I forget how traumatizing Saving Summer is, because I was so desensitized to it by the time it got published.
Yeah.
I forget just how deeply traumatizing it is.
So anyone who didn't finish her book, I'm her best friend, I also didn't finish it.
Yeah.
But
this one you got no excuse, because there's no trigger warnings for this one, unless you're a homophobe, in which case I don't want you buying my book anyway.
This is the first time I'm able to.
Oh yeah, you haven't even held the book yet. Do you want that one? It's got the credits for the clanker in it, but
I mean, I don't mind.
Yeah. Well, once I get, because right now, I only have these copies, but once I get the new copies that I can.
I mean, I don't mind taking the old copy. I don't mind.
Okay, you want a misprint?
Sure.
Okay, you start reading it early.
Oh my god! Wait a minute. Early access because your best friend wrote a book.
Early access because she commissioned a clanker by accident.
By accident.
Yeah.
How many pages is this?
500 and something. I know the total sheet number is 560, but that includes the back of the book stuff.
Oh, I hope to see you again soon. That's so cute.
Thanks.
I should not start at the end.
No, but 542 pages.
To be continued.
Oh yeah,
continued.
I told you there's a companion novel and then there's a sequel.
Oh, I knew that, but also me who also knew that, and also me being like, wait a second, that's not allowed. Anyway, but read Lost and Found when it comes out.
Yep. This is the case laminate. This part's staying. It will have a different cover jacket than the one I showed in the other videos, that are mostly private except for the fun facts one. I didn't. I just put a clown emoji over the book every time I held it up.
But it's good. She's a good writer.
Thank you.
So read her book.
Yep. All right. I think that's all we got. Also, if you are an AI artist, then I hope you have a terrible day. If you're the 10% that takes people's money and runs their art through a bot and then tells them that they made it themselves but lost the proof, I hope you also have a bad day. And again, if my artist was not lying, if this is just legitimately a terrible set of circumstances and she just happened to draw the shirt that way, then I'm sorry.
But also, given circumstances.
Yeah. But if you use AI if you use generative AI for anything, I hope you have a terrible day.
No clankers in this chat.
No. All right. Yeah, signing off.
Bye.
Bye.